Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Tuesday, guys. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Tuesday, guys. So I'm replying to this email from a young lady who said she saw the recording in reference to when I was used to give Pastor John Gray a message. So here's the thing. She wanted me to she's a new subscriber. So she kind of wanted me to be a little more specific about when I feel a nudge to give a message, what that looks like, what it all entitles, and things like that. She do feel like she's a vessel, she's a messenger, but she gets stuck. Once she hears the download, she gets stuck in delivering that message. So I just want to share a few things from different perspectives. Okay, first and foremost, sis, I think it's wonderful that you know how God uses you. Again, God uses us in different ways. Everyone is not in the church, right? He will give some of us profound downloads and revelations in order to relay a message to an individual for different reasons, right? I think he targets not fearless, right? Because many times it's not that we're not fearless when we're moving in spirit. We just have to step into it afraid and all, and then allow the spirit to take over. So great for you that you do recognize that he is nudging you to use you as a vessel. Now, for myself personally, I've been used for a very, very long time. It comes in different ways, but it's always, for me, it always starts with a nudging. It's a prompting in my spirit. And in the past, I would try to just kind of drag it because I just didn't even feel qualified, things like that. And then what happened is that nudging and that prompting would become more and more profound. So it's almost like he needs you to do it, and he needs you to do it now. So that's how I initially get my prompting. And because when I'm moving in spirit, I'm fearless. Now, if I'm moving in flesh, I'm very, very fearful, right? So once I get that prompting, then I deliver what he needs me to deliver. Sometimes that's just a 3-letter sentence, right? Sometimes that's more involved, where it will require me to fast, where it may require me to really study and read the word in regards to that situation, because that situation can be more deep, more rooted. So it just all depends. Of course, I would never say any words in regards to what message I had to deliver to anyone. I would never, ever do that. But just to kind of give you an idea, it can be something in the sense of maybe that person is struggling, right? This person could be struggling, and this person can be someone who's a public figure or something like that, and they have people around them all the time. But when God nudges you, God allows you insight. He gives you insight. So even though you can see that this person has, 20 people around them, security, accountants, and this and that. Well, these people work for them. And then a lot of times when people are working for you, it's almost like even if they see something, they're going to be afraid to say something because you cut their paycheck, right? And then also, just because someone is in your life doesn't mean that they're spiritually called to you. So people who are spiritually called to you, then God gives them insight to see within that whole circle. So in saying that, some of these individuals have some people around them who are not there for the right reasons, right? Some of them can have people around who are around, let's just say, to prosper their own motives. And then on a more deeper level, there can be people who are there who's potentially trying to set them up, right? Just waiting on them to make that wrong mistake. But because the individual is more involved with their work in, that limelight and show business, right? They're so busy, moving from city to city and, state to state and from country to country. A lot of times when you're moving like that in flesh, your spiritual life can kind of take a back seat. And when you're not spiritually plugged in all the time, there's so many ways for the enemy to creep in. And before you know it, not only is he's in, he's now taking over. And so now these individuals are dealing with all type of spiritual attack, demonic attacks, right? They're getting hit from different areas in their lives, and they don't understand what's going on. Why am I feeling like this? Not even realizing it's somebody right in their own camp. Jealousy is real. So you can have quote unquote friends, quote unquote associates, who can act like they honor you and they love you, and truth of the matter is they envy you. But because they have close access to you, they can do more damage. And it can be very, very subtle. You may not even see it or notice it. But one thing that I've realized about God, sorry guys, I'm sorry, God sends confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. So a lot of times when I am used in whatever way to deliver a message, every single time, the way that it is received, let me know that it's confirmation. See, God goes to his people first and foremost, right? God gives us his revelation. Sometimes we miss it for different reasons, but God is so good that he will constantly allow vessels, messengers, and just maybe reading your word or however you hear from God to keep convicting you, to keep convicting you, to keep convicting you. And when it starts to become more and more profound, more and more frequent, then there's something going on and God needs the person's attention right then and there. So it could be something as deep as that. Now, with a situation like that, that's way more involved. That means now I have to shut some things down because, all right, God is really on me about this thing. So I got to really get up in his word. I got to really allow him to let me know what he needs me to say, right? So he'll show me revelation. It's crazy on how God will give you insight and revelation on the people that he needs you to reach. So now that's very involved there. That's a very involved scenario, right? Where it could be something as simple as, like I said, just giving a couple of words. Those are the easy ones, right? Sometimes God have woken me up like 3 o'clock in the morning, like, hey, inbox this person and say this. And I'm like, God, really? Really, right? So again, it's not that I'm not fearless. I am. But I have to, boom, get connected to spirit, right? Because in spirit, you're not fearful. Not when you're moving in spirit, because it's not even you. It's not even you. So you have a supernatural grace and a supernatural, boom, power to get it done because it's not even you. So when you find yourself trembling and things like that, then I suggest you, sis, to connect to the spirit, because what's happening is that you're moving in flesh. So God needs to fill you up in the spirit. So when you do open your mouth or when you do present something, then it's all in spirit. You also wanted me to give more of a very quick scenario of how, all right, so I'm not sure if you heard that recording, but I was on a cruise. It was a family cruise we were on, and I told you guys about the guy who was there. He was an older guy, much more mature guy, but he was there with his adult children as well as grandchildren, but I could definitely see that he was struggling. He was smiling for everybody, of course, but then the spirit alerted me, nudged me. I'm about to turn up on this cruise and have a great time. Right? Didn't know I was there for a whole assignment. But either which way, after those 5 days of being on that cruise, he and I had already connected, just speaking in general. He definitely knew the Lord. So again, God knows his people. So he will send messengers or just, I use the word vessels. He'll send vessels to confirm. So make a long story short, he was married. His wife had a heart attack, I believe. It was a heart attack. And then when he was upstairs of their home, when he came down to try to save her, he froze, right? He froze in when he was on the phone with the 911 operator. They were telling him to do CPR, trying to instruct him, but he froze. So for all these years, I think it was maybe like 2-3 years prior to me meeting him, he carried this burden and this weight that he had never expressed to anyone, including his children, that he felt he was responsible for his wife dying. He really felt like if he had performed CPR efficiently, that his wife would have still remained here. So he had never shared that with anybody. So then on the cruise, God allowed me. I didn't know what happened to his wife. I didn't even know he lost a wife. God just used me to share some words with him. And then those words were, it was not your fault. Regardless of what you could not have done, regardless if you froze, it was her time. And then that's when I discovered and learned, and this man just broke down, like seriously. But that breaking down was a sense of release. He was in bondage. He was in bondage because Satan will literally have us sitting here thinking that things are our faults. And if we would have done this, then this wouldn't have happened. And it's bondage. So in that moment, I saw that spiritual veil being lifted off of him, and he was free. He was free from that bondage. So even though, again, at the end of the cruise, he asked me for my number and he thought, I guess I was his new wife. I don't know. It was never about that. It was never about that. It was specifically about God using me to release that message for him, never to be seen again. So if you feel you're called to do that, sis, I would challenge you to get further spiritually connected so you can understand what assignment God have you on, because we are in our last days. There is no doubt about that. So I feel he is pressing us more with purpose and calling. And again, that's whatever your purpose is. We all have different purpose and calling, right? We all are used differently. So whatever people's purpose is, I feel like there's a more pressing feeling in the spiritual realm. Is almost like do it now, do it now, do it now, say it now, say it now, because he knows some things are, going on right now in the spiritual realm. So that's how God uses me. It's very, very, very untraditional. I'm very misunderstood. And I get it, right? Because again, conditioning will have us thinking that everyone that God uses is in the church pulpit. Everybody got on some Brute Cologne and Stacey Adams. And, listen, I'm not knocking that, right? I think church is wonderful. I really do. But everybody's not called to ministry in the sense of a physical church form. So you guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.